Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm pretty sure I just broke everyone's ears. I shouldn't say
you would break mine, but I was on vacation and I can't hear out of my left ear.
That's right, Rick is back.
What's up?
From his trip to North or South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
I don't think it matters.
They're kind of both the same for me. Real.
It's Tuesday, July 30th. This is the last show that we do in July. This is getting crazy. Training camp started this week. It is getting busy in the NFL world. The one thing I'm noticing about training camp this year, and it doesn't change from year to year, but the amount of people on Twitter sharing videos, and I'm guilty. I share videos on the Instagram.
On the
Instagram story.
Yeah.
I share some videos. Follow us on Instagram, by the way.
Yeah, you should do that.
But people are getting so caught up in all of the training camp hype. It is getting a little ridiculous.
I've been saying this for years. You'll see a video of like someone bench pressing, and it'll be like massive amounts of strength. Watch out for this guy this year, and he's like the 5th string running back that's going to get cut after the first preseason game.
It's ridiculous. Today we are going to talk about and bring you our best value picks at wide receiver and tight end. We're going to put them together because tight ends are boring and not fun.
We've talked about tight ends so much.
Yeah, then there's only like 40 of them, so I think we covered them all.
There's really only 3 if we're being completely honest.
Before we get into the news, I want to make sure that you guys go over to Twitter and Instagram and follow us on there at the FF Champs on Twitter and on Instagram at the Fantasy Champions. Go on Facebook.com// the Fantasy Champions and like us on Facebook. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. I'm having a tough time today with these pleasantries at the beginning here. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Make sure you leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. Let's get to the news. Woo. Melvin Gordon was absent from the start of training camp on Wednesday, which is not unexpected. There's about 14 different reports flying around right now on Melvin Gordon. He's supposedly $2 to $3 million apart, which is ridiculous. A season, not overall. A season, which I think they should be able to figure out.
That's not crazy.
Like people, I'll get to that in a second. I was going to start talking about people freaking out over Melvin Gordon. But anyway, just the other news is that that these $2 to $3 million apart, and that this could be a long holdout. So this is causing people in the fantasy football world to rank him between 12 to 15 among running backs.
Yeah. Among running backs?
Some people.
So what's that, like 3rd, 4th round?
3rd, 4th round, yeah. So people are ranking him there. I don't think necessarily that he's going to go that late, but I think people are overreacting to the Le'Veon Bell news from last year.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers weren't anywhere near a deal. It was like, we're not going to pay you, bro. We're just going to keep slapping the tag.
$2 to $3 million, it doesn't seem that bad.
It doesn't seem that bad. So I am of the belief that Melvin Gordon will probably get this figured out before the season starts. Yeah. I don't want to believe that it's going to go into the season, but people have the right to freak out over this.
It's just because they got burned last year.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when situations like this happen, it usually gets resolved.
But if this lasts into like late August drafts, and there's a chance that he could be on the board in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'm not even second guessing myself. I'm taking Melvin Gordon.
Even if it has not been resolved.
And even if it hasn't been resolved. Here's the thing. If I get my solid running back in the 1st round, the guy that I want, generally speaking, say I have like the 4th
You're picking
pick,
what, 2?
I'm picking 2.
So you can get whoever.
Yeah, I can get whoever I want. But if you're picking 4 or 5 and your options are, Todd Gurley, I'm not Todd Gurley, David Johnson. I love Todd Gurley too much.
McCaffrey.
David Johnson, Christian McCaffrey, those guys. If you can get one of those guys and then in the 2nd round or 3rd round get away with drafting Melvin Gordon, even if he doesn't come back, it's worth the risk of taking a look, because if he does come back, what are you getting?
Player, yeah.
You're getting 2 top 5, top 6 running backs for your team. So that's why I would definitely. Other people are like, "Oh, stay away from Melvin Gordon. He might hold out the whole season." I'm like, no, stop. That happens once in like 20 years. That's not going to happen again.
Not quite that long, but it's not.
I could see it going 6 to 8 weeks into the season. Yeah, probably. Like, which would suck. But and at that point, I'm not really. If we know that he'll probably hold out for an extended amount of the regular season, then I would take him probably in the 5th or 6th round.
I think if he's gonna hold out into the regular season, I wouldn't draft him
at all.
Not at all, but pretty much at all, unless he's like really falling.
Right.
I would try to stay away from him.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be the 5th or 6th round. If he was to miss like 5 or 6 weeks, I would probably draft him there. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Cam Newton he avoided the PUP list to begin training camp, which is good news. I saw a couple videos of him throwing. I don't think his arm looks fine. I'm not worried about Cam Newton's shoulder anymore. Redskins coach Jay Gruden said Darius Geis won't be limited at training camp. That's a good news for Darius Geis truthers.
Hey.
Emmanuel Sanders returned to team drills on Wednesday from his torn Achilles, which is pretty
a tough injury.
Fast to come back.
That is
that injury. And he looks like when you watch some of the footage from
the training camp highlights.
Their training camp highlights. It's not really, for me, it's not really the him burning receivers or whatever they want to say. It's just he's making cuts well. He's moving quickly. It's not like
which is very important.
Which is very important for a guy coming off an Achilles injury. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports that Julian Edelman, he's on the NFI list, and he is recovering from a broken thumb. Apparently, he was working out with Brady, and Brady threw the ball so hard it broke his thumb.
Wow.
That is what I heard. If that is false, please let me know. But yeah, he was like catching a ball and he broke his thumb. So he should be. It's only like a 2-week injury. He should be ready to go for the season. Like he's already doing some catching drills. I don't know how you do that without his thumb, but. Kalen Ballage took the first team snaps at running back during Thursday's drills at Dolphins practice.
He did what now?
He took first team reps. The first day, the second day, the third day, and now it's reported by Cameron Wolfe from ESPN that Kalen Ballage has a real chance to win the starting job.
So what was your bold prediction again?
Kenyon Drake was going to be a top 10 running back. I take it back.
Yikes. It's okay. Bold predict. I mean, I said Corey Davis.
It could completely change. Kenyon Drake and Kalen Ballage did. They were seen limping at certain points. Both of them. I'll leave it to the Dolphins. Yeah, no. It's interesting to see that Kalen Ballage. We had him as a sleeper.
Yeah.
On our sleeper show, and he's definitely a guy I think you should take a look at.
Oh, definitely.
I think what's going to happen. This is a very Patriot thing to do. Kalen Ballage starts games, right? He comes in on first and second downs, and then the rest of the time, maybe just first downs for Kalen Ballage, the rest of the time goes to Kenyon Drake. So Kenyon Drake will get the majority of the work, but Kalen Ballage will start the game, and like somebody from ESPN was talking about that, where they're going to work it out so that Kalen Ballage gets less work than Kenyon Drake, but Kenyon Drake doesn't start games. Very Patriot thing to do. Chad O'Shea comes from the Patriots, so it doesn't surprise me. But that pisses me off. Somebody please use Kenyon Drake properly at some point. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. He's a free agent this upcoming year, too, so if he's on the market.
He's probably going to sign with a team that's going to use him even worse.
NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports Michael Thomas did not report for the start of Saints training camp. This is not going to be concerned. He's about to get a massive deal.
Yeah,
massive deal. They're not going to. He's not coming to training camp because he doesn't have the deal yet. But this is not like the Saints aren't close. This is a bad situation. Not Ian Rappaport. Michael Thomas is probably. It's expected that in the next week he's going to sign a deal, and he'll probably report by then. So don't worry about Michael Thomas. The graveyard of wide receivers on the Giants got even worse. I am astounded that this is a giant, like the Giants are becoming the Browns. Honest to God, this whole sequence of events,
they're really turning into the Browns.
Turning into that, yeah. The funny thing is, I say that now, and then they'll like win 8
They actually
games,
win the
make them
division.
They win the division. So Sterling Shepard suffered a broken thumb in Thursday's practice. First practice, I believe, for the Giants, he suffered a broken thumb. Corey Coleman in like the second practice tore his ACL, who was like the third string wide receiver. And then Golden Tate, right after all that news broke, they were like, they don't have any wide receivers. Golden Tate was suspended 4 games for violating the PED policy. So they basically have, I don't even know
Des Bryant.
who the 4th wide receiver. I know they should call. That's what I said. I was like looking. I was like, wait, Dez is still on the market. Why don't you hit that up? Yeah, that won't happen. But
No.
Golden Tate did appeal the suspension. But it said that he's probably not going to win. He was saying that he took a fertility drug. And there was an illegal part of it that he failed to test for, which, I mean, that's a very legitimate thing, but
Yeah.
it seems like he's like, oh yeah.
Very, yeah.
Golden Tate trying to stay healthy.
I swear it's for my health. Downs it.
The Dolphins signed wide receiver Allen Hurns after he was cut by the Cowboys earlier this week. 49ers placed running back Jerick McKinnon on the active/PUP list after a flare-up of his ACL. Kyle Shanahan believes he's going to be off the PUP list and ready to go for Thursday's practice. So take it with a grain of salt, people. It would be awful if Jerick McKinnon
that does stink.
I saw that news before I saw the one about what Kyle Shanahan said.
I feel bad for him.
My God, this guy can't win.
No.
It was who had I can't remember. There was one player that had to have 3 knee surgeries. Was that Gronk?
No.
They screwed up 3 times and they had to repair it 3 times. I don't remember.
There's been players like that though.
This is interesting news. And it was actually I listened to a podcast and I will shout them out. It's called Fade the Public, and they did a bold prediction show. And one of the guys on the show predicted that Theo Riddick a month ago would be cut by the Lions. And he just got cut by the Lions.
Hey, okay.
So they nailed it. Sorry, I was taking a drink of water. They nailed it. But this is major news for Kerryon Johnson. The only problem left for Kerryon is CJ Anderson.
I was just going to say, dude,
Anderson,
you forgot
I don't wish injury on anyone, but it would benefit Kerryon Johnson greatly if CJ Anderson was overweight and failed the physical.
Wow. So I could be wrong about this because I'm not exactly an expert on how the Lions use their running backs.
Yeah.
But I feel like Theo Riddick was kind of involved in the passing game, wasn't
Yes,
he?
yeah. Which is that's Kerryon Johnson's bread and butter right there.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're expected to target him. I guess they're expected to target him close to 80 to 90 times this year. I believe that's.
Well, I'm a fan of Kerryon, man.
But the problem is the big problem with Kerryon Johnson, I think people should really definitely take a look at before you start drafting him in the 3rd round.
Like me?
Yeah, like you. Is touchdowns. He has a very similar problem to what Christian McCaffrey had at the beginning of last season, where McCaffrey was a great pass-catching back, good on the ground. He did everything well, but they had, was it James? No, not James. Who was it? Their backup running back last year, Stewart something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jonathan Stewart?
Jonathan Stewart was he ended up getting hurt, but he was supposed to be the guy at the goal line who was to punch it in, which is what happened the season prior with Christian McCaffrey. Didn't score touchdowns the first 6 weeks of the year, and then he went off for 7 straight weeks. So I think you see that similar situation with Kerryon Johnson, where he's a great pass catching back. He was a rookie last year, great pass catching back, can run well on the ground. The question is CJ Anderson going to take all the goal line work away from him? And if he does, that's a very concerning situation for a guy like Kerryon Johnson. So that's kind of why I probably
that is a valid concern.
In drafts I'll probably draft him a late 5th or late 4th, early 5th.
He's going early 4th right now.
Yeah, early 4th is. I mean, I would if I have a team that's drafting early 4th, maybe depending on where he is. But I think that the touchdown risk is a problem.
Because the running backs in his area, Derrick Henry. I know your opinion.
Oh
on
no, he's
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. No, I mean not over. It would be close. It would be close.
I mean, I guess it's close, but I'd say Kerryon.
Yeah.
That's just me, though, I guess. You give me a look. Why? You a Josh Jacobs guy?
I do like Josh Jacobs, but I don't know if I like him.
Early 4th round?
No.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I like. The problem is right now is my intention was to draft wide receivers in the 5th round, but the abyss of running backs. Like if you look in the 4th round, there are so many running backs that I just don't want to draft in the 4th round. That I would be like Kerryon Johnson and
David
Josh
Montgomery.
Jacobs and David Montgomery are guys I would love to draft in the 5th round. Not in the 4th round. That's too early. So it's like almost like I always usually draft a running back in the 4th round. Like not that you got to stick to one thing, but that's usually just how it works out. In the 5th round, I get the wide receiver, but it's not really working out that way.
So what you doing
in
the 3rd round?
I don't even know anymore. I'm just gonna go with the flow.
That's what I do, man.
So the Lions released the Riddick. Good news for Kerryon Johnson. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports A.J. Green is likely to be sidelined 6 to 8 weeks after he tore ligaments in his ankle.
Yikes.
It was initially reported that he had a minor low ankle sprain, and then it developed from there. So now he's going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. It is projected. We just got a report a second ago that he was. They had the surgery and that they cleaned everything up, but there was a little bit more wrong than they originally thought. So he probably will miss 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season.
Yep.
Right now he's getting drafted at an ADP in the 4th round because drafts really haven't adjusted fully yet. But a lot of people that I talk to are saying 5th round, 6th round, some 4th round, and a lot of no, I don't want to draft AJ Green anymore. To me, I think you got to be more open than saying, no, I'm not drafting AJ Green. If you could get AJ Green in the 6th round.
Yeah, I think I would do that.
There is no, 5th round I was questioning. I was like, okay, do I want to take a risk on AJ Green?
Especially because considering that new report that just came out where they said it was worse than initially expected, that's never a good sign. Because that means in another few weeks it could continue to be worse.
Ankle injuries are tough for NFL players too. They linger. Like his toe injury doesn't linger, but foot injuries, ankle injuries for wide receivers are hard to come back from. Especially like he's got 6 to 8 weeks to figure it out, which is good. But at the same time, it's like, do you want to take the risk in the 4th or 5th round on AJ Green? A 5th round, maybe. 6th round, definitely.
I would in the 6th, yeah.
I think he's turning into a good value. It just depends on how much people fade him out in terms of where they're drafting him. So just keep an eye on AJ Green. This does help Tyler Boyd a little bit because, and I haven't seen Boyd rise up.
He hasn't yet. He will, I think.
He will probably. But this helps Tyler Boyd a little bit in terms of a boost in draft value. I think Joe Mixon is really getting undervalued right now, and undervalued in the context of like you're seeing guys like Melvin Gordon fall back on the board. You're seeing guys like Todd Gurley fall back, but Joe Mixon's not moving up, and I'm wondering why isn't Joe Mixon moving up? I just think people are. They're kind of, I don't, for some reason people
are on Bengals.
Yeah, I think they don't like. I think it's
I don't blame them. I don't like the Bengals either, but
hatred for the Bengals offense as well as just like last year he was really good. I think he was 8th in fantasy and half PPR, but he wasn't incredible. So I think it should be interesting to see what happens with Joe Mixon this year. I've talked about this before with, is it Zach Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah, Zach Taylor. He comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
And so I would believe that they're going to pull the same zone running back, playbook scheme as the Rams do. So they're going to try to set up the pass with the play action. They're going to try to set up play action with the run a lot similar to how the Rams do. And if that's the case, they'll utilize Joe Mixon in a similar context to Todd Gurley. If that's the case, Joe Mixon produces, fantasy point per opportunity the same exact way that Todd Gurley does. To me, I think Joe Mixon, I'm not saying Joe Mixon going to be Todd Gurley, but if they give him 300 opportunities like they give Todd Gurley,
if they play it right.
Yeah, he's a guy that you get in the 2nd round and is an absolute steal. So keep an eye on Joe Mixon. Cowboys signed Alfred Morris, probably because they're getting nervous about Zeke. That's a little bit strange situation. I just want to note, we're running out of time on the news segment, but I just want to note that what's his name? The clown owner of the Cowboys.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. Thank you. I literally.
How'd you forget Jerry Jones?
It's because I didn't write it down. I was like, I got this, and then I didn't write it down. So Jerry, I know. How do I forget Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones said, "You do." This is laughable. I
love Jerry Jones.
I started laughing at this. Jerry Jones literally said, he said, "You don't need a running back to win a championship." Now, you don't. You don't need a running back to win a championship. He's not wrong. But if you go back in the past and you look at everything that he did, he won 3 Super Bowls with Emmitt Smith, a rushing champion. You clown? Are you kidding me? Like, you haven't won a Super Bowl. You haven't won a Super Bowl since Emmitt Smith has been on your team, you moron.
I hate.
We don't need Zeke.
Jerry
Jones. Need Zeke, the most important piece to our offense.
No,
Dak Prescott blows when Zeke's not on the field. Blows.
Because in the modern NFL football, I don't think
I agree with you.
Necessarily need a
running back. You don't need
a
running back.
But Zeke is the best player.
He's the best. He's
at least
maybe
offensively
the second most talented running back in the NFL behind Saquon. Like,
because Zeke is not only running game wise your best option,
passing game
he's
too.
Probably their best.
He's turned in.
I mean, him and Amari Cooper.
He runs the offense. When you run on it, when
exactly.
Amari Cooper's not open and Michael Gallup blows and Jason Witten's old, you only have Zeke to throw to. When they have their best offensive weeks, it's when Zeke literally gets 200 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns.
If you were a defensive coordinator for 1 week, some team their whole coaching staff just had heart attacks, so they hired you.
GG.
And you're playing the Cowboys. Who are you trying to stop on that offense?
Zeke.
Yeah. Do you care about anyone else? Maybe Amari Cooper?
Amari Cooper, yes. Oh, sorry. Amari Cooper, yes, but
it's like 80% Zeke, 20% Amari.
Oh yeah, yeah. Your goal, like, you sit as a defensive coordinator, you're sitting with your staff, and you're like, I want to stop Zeke.
Right.
Jerry Jones, he can stick his foot in it. Like, that statement to the media would, to me, if I'm Zeke. Now, Zeke is he's not really a guy that gets pissed off. I mean, I guess that video at the concert really doesn't help us.
You know how you piss him off?
He just doesn't seem like he gets pissed off.
No, unless you stole his Chick-fil-A or something.
Yeah. But to say that about the biggest piece in your offense, like you say, we're trying to get Zeke signed, but we can play without him for right now. That type of thing. Mm-hmm. You don't say we don't need a running back to win a championship. Like, that is literally devaluing Ezekiel Elliott to the lowest. Zeke, if you ever listen to this podcast, please do not go back to the Cowboys, you clown.
I mean,
I'd want him on the Cowboys. Sorry,
for fantasy reasons.
For fantasy reasons, but if I was Zeke, I honestly would be like, Jerry, what the crap? But then if you play for the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is an idiot. So
yeah, you got to know that ahead of time.
Going in, you know that he's gonna say stupid stuff. The final piece of news: Adam Schefter reports that Derrick Henry is dealing with a strained calf. He'll probably be out 2 to 3 weeks. So I would expect him not to play a preseason game. If you are a Derrick Henry truther and you like Derrick Henry, I would say don't let that news worry you. But I don't like Derrick Henry regardless. What is he going in the 6th round, I believe?
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
4th round.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all set with that. Let's move into our best wide receiver / tight end value picks for 2019. These are players that we believe have great draft value for their ADP. Anywhere in the draft. So let's start off with our first wide receiver, and we do have 3 tight ends, 5 wide receivers, 3 tight ends. So let's start off with Cooper Kupp. Pooper Kupp. I love Cooper Kupp. He's one of these guys that has kind of fallen out of the...
He has. We've talked about Cooper.
The graces of people who want wide receivers who are similar to Julian Edelman, I guess.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick. No, but he's fallen. Like, people loved Cooper Kupp for the first, 7-8 weeks of the season last year when he was going off.
Then he got hurt.
And then he got hurt, and people were just like, oh, by the way, Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks are better. I actually like Robert Woods as my favorite Rams wide receiver right now for some reason. But I still think Cooper Kupp is one of Jared Goff's favorite options. And if you are coming into this season and you're assuming Cooper Kupp is going to play a full 16 games, I don't know why you would think that Cooper Kupp is going to fall into, the 23rd wide receiver off the board. I think he can be a top 15 guy if he plays all 16 games.
I agree.
Do you think he's going to be a wide receiver 3?
No, absolutely. He's going in the 6th round right now.
And like, if you're getting Cooper Kupp in the 6th round and you're using our strategy of building the core of your team, 2 wide receivers, 3 running backs, or if you want to go flex for wide receiver, whatever. But if you build the core of your team in the first 5 rounds and then you're getting Cooper Kupp in the 6th, like, that's literally insane value.
Yeah.
Like, how could you not do that? He's in the fantasy in best ball drafts. He's going, which is usually the most accurate ADP this early. He's going in the 7th round. So
really,
yeah, something like that.
Holy cow!
Pick 61. If you're in a 12 team, it's probably like the 6th round. But isn't that crazy?
That is. And people are like, oh, well, why would I take him if I'm going by your strategy and now he's just going to sit on my bench? Because then you could either A, trade the guys who trade, like you could trade your number 2 receiver and try to upgrade for a running back or something like that.
Yep.
Or you have fantastic value on your bench that you can then trade for other things. So having a guy like Cooper Kupp on your bench would be insanely valuable.
Do you want to hear the full PPR fantasy point values for Cooper Kupp in games that he didn't get injured and miss half the game?
Okay.
Week 1 against Oakland, 17. Week 2 against Arizona, he kind of had a tough week. 12 fantasy points. That's only because he didn't catch a touchdown. He had 16 against LA, the Chargers. And then he had 37 against Minnesota, 21 against Seattle. And then he got hurt against Denver in week 6. And then he came back week 9 against New Orleans and had 19, tore his ACL in week 10, still got 8 points in that game. So he had basically one game that was kind of suspect against the Arizona Cardinals.
That was it.
That was it. He was. They have this metric on playerprofiler.com. It measures a player's week-to-week fantasy point scoring oscillation, which means
it's a big word.
They're up and down, like how inconsistent they are. He was the number 3 wide receiver in all of fantasy football. In the whole league in consistency. So,
and you guys are still taking him in the 7th round?
Yeah, continue taking him in the 7th round. I kind of want to. But he's a great player to have for your fantasy team. If you decide to go, I've seen people who want to go running. Like I'm not one to go strategies. Like you should go into your draft flexible. But
yeah,
some people do the running back strategy. If that's how your draft ends up, then I think Cooper Kupp is definitely a guy you want to take in the 6th round. Like some of the guys I've looked at in the 6th. I mean, the 6th round is kind of stacked for wide receivers. You got Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd in some contexts, and Cooper Kupp. Like you're not really
DJ Moore too. Oh no, he's 7th round.
You're not really missing too much. Is Tyler Boyd in the 6th?
He's according to the fantasy calculator, he's also 7th.
7th, okay. But you do 6th, 7th, 8th are really good rounds to get wide receivers. Yeah. So like if there's any year to really do the 3 running back strategy, I guess you could do it this year. But Cooper Kupp is a huge value in 2019 fantasy football drafts. The number 2 guy on our list, we just mentioned him a second ago, Tyler Boyd. I love Tyler Boyd.
We both loved. A lot of people love Tyler.
I don't think we've talked about Tyler Boyd and DJ Moore as much as we are in the show, and we love Tyler. We've been talking about them all off season, but not on the podcast for some reason.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd is literally one of the most talented wide receivers in the league, and he is. I forget what round he was taken in. I think it was the 2nd round. Let me just pull that up.
Off the top of my head, I'd say 2nd too.
I believe it was 2nd. I could be wrong though. Yeah, 2nd round pick, 24. But in college, he was absolutely insane. He had a college denominator of 95th percentile. His college yards per reception was 70th percentile, and his breakout age, which is usually if you break out at the age of 18, that means you came into college and literally dominated from year 1 as a freshman. His was the 93rd percentile at 18. So first year of college, he was dominating. He played last year with AJ Green on the field. He was better.
Yeah.
With A.J. Green on the field, which is very weird. He had 76 receptions, 1,028 yards, and then 7 total touchdowns. His catch rate was 70%. His true catch rate was 87%. He's an insanely good slot receiver. That is exactly how they're going to use him. And if you see an increase in target share for Tyler Boyd, like last year he averaged 7.7 per game. If he averages like 10 per game, he probably will hit
fantastic steal.
Yeah, and fantastic steal. He got, just to put this in perspective, guys like Antonio Brown and Devontae Adams had 1.8 fantasy point per target. This guy has 2.5. So, or 2.05, I'm sorry. If it was 2.5, I would rip my pants off. 2.05, which means that if he gets targeted 125, 130 times, he'll probably finish in the top 10. He's about as sure a thing you're going to get in the 7th round.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, if he busts out, I apologize. But this is literally, looking at the numbers, he's an insanely good wide receiver in the 7th round. I mean, he had a decent season last year, but coming into now, he was a little more volatile in terms of week-to-week production. So he would go off like week 2, 3, and 4. He had 21, 25, and 21, and then week 1 and 5, he had like 2, 5, and 8 and full PPR.
Yeah.
So he was up and down at times during the season. But I think he's a perfect guy to get in the 7th round because you invest in him, and then, you know, AJ Green has to miss extended time,
which he most likely will. Even if he just misses the first few games, I think he'll probably miss more.
But you're going to get Tyler Boyd at an extremely good value for a guy
7th round.
That a guy that could break out into the, you know, wide receiver 1 conversation. A guy that's going to sit on your bench as a wide receiver 1. Are you kidding me?
You know, he's
snag that.
According to Fantasy Pros, he's in the 5th tier of receivers. He's ranked 28th among receivers. You know who's higher than him?
I'm not going to shake my head because I don't remember where I have him ranked.
You want to know who's higher than him?
Who?
I know you don't have this guy higher than him. Allen Robinson.
Oh, come on. That's disgusting.
Mike Williams, who I don't hate.
I mean, I don't judge other people's rankings, but Allen Robinson, really? He had like one good season.
Yeah. Would you put DJ Moore ahead of him?
No.
Calvin Ridley?
Yes. I think Calvin Ridley's going to get more opportunity. That's the only reason why I say that.
Okay. Alshon Jeffrey?
No.
Okay, so you have him a little higher then. You probably don't have him crazy high. You know they have Tyler Lockett ranked 20? Just
yeah.
That's
I think I have him ranked 23. I believe. At PPR.
Everybody hated Lockett last year. Now they love him.
It's true.
Yeah.
No,
Tyler Boyd, he's also entering the prime of his career as well. Yeah. He's going to be 25 this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of receivers tend to break out like 2nd, 3rd, 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have an even better year this year. I think he will, to be honest, have a better year this year than he did last year.
Right.
There's more stability in the offense, and I think the hiring of the new head coach is Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
We just went through this. I think that will actually help the offensive lot as a whole, especially Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon, I guess. So the offense as a whole. But I think, that's an upgrade from Marvin Lewis, at least offensively.
Yeah.
Because I know Marvin Lewis kind of, not trying to hate, but
if you look at how the Rams, I don't like to get too far into comparing offenses and where a guy came from, and Zach Taylor was the quarterback coach or the wide receiver coach before he came
Falcons,
here.
Right?
For the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah. So coming from Sean McVay's system, what did we see last year when all 3 wide receivers were on the field? 3 Rams wide receivers,
3 dominant receivers,
finished as top 20 wide receivers. So you're telling me that Tyler Boyd and AJ Green can't coexist? Like, I don't think anybody's saying that, but like, to me, I think he's going to get a large amount of opportunity. I don't think in a full PPR setting, he's a little bit more risky just because I don't think he's going to hit 100 receptions. I think he'll hit like 80 to 90, but in a half PPR and a standard league, he's a perfect play. Like, he's a guy that you get in the 7th, 8th round, and you're bragging to your buddies, oh, I got that wide receiver that broke out. So I love Tyler.
You love them both.
I love them both. The third guy on our list, I kind of already said his name, spoiled it. DJ Moore. I was reading DJ Moore's name when I was trying to say Tyler Boyd, and I kind of mixed them together. DJ Boyd.
That's every every hardcore fantasy player for this year. Yeah, that's gonna be their team names.
DJ Boyd.
DJ Boyd.
I'll draft both and name my team DJ Boyd. DJ Moore is I love DJ Moore. He was a 1st round pick by the Carolina Panthers. He has a lot of talent. His measurables are good. His college statistics, or whatever you want to say, the player profiler statistics line up. He's very good. When I initially was starting to scout for the year and I looked at DJ Moore, I was like, this guy is very impressive. The thing that he has, the leg up that he has on Tyler Boyd right now, is the fact that he is the main option in the Carolina Panthers offense. The number one guy.
Yeah, that's...
and so that's why it's a little bit more of a question for me between Tyler Boyd and DJ Moore. I don't think that Cam Newton throws the ball nearly as much as not that he should, but like as he can. And I think
that's fair.
I think that like name the last guy to finish as a wide receiver 1 in a Cam Newton quarterback system.
You're gonna have Steve Smith. Was he ever?
I don't know. Great question. But I looked 7 years back and I couldn't find one.
Well,
Cam Newton's
probably not then.
Entire career, he's had wide receiver 2s. He's had wide receiver 3s. He has never had a wide receiver 1. Somebody can fact check me on that and,
prove you wrong.
DM me on Twitter. But that is my
out.
concern about DJ Moore.
Yeah. No, it's a fair concern, but who else?
As a 7th, 8th round wide receiver, though.
No, I know that's like that.
That's like
as that being your concern, like that's not
if
a bad
sucks,
concern.
If he sucks, like
it's whatever. But he could easily break out. Who else other than Curtis Samuel is a receiver on that team? It was that Debo guy, right? What's his name?
No, Debo Samuel is a 49er.
Oh,
I can look at I'll look at the depth chart right now. Make your point.
Because other than Curtis...
Make your point. I sound like a radio talk show host getting really angry about the callers. No pleasantries.
Other than Curtis Samuel, there is no wide receiver on that offense. Now you can argue Greg Olsen might be. I think he will be, but chances are Greg Olsen's going to miss half the season.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey.
Right, but he's kind of like...
Jarius Wright and Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan... Oh gosh,
they have Chris Hogan in the flanker spot.
That's interesting.
He is a vertical guy, but he's kind of short to be a little bit.
He is
the vertical.
I think Hogan's kind of trash. Though,
We're talking about Hogan.
Chris Hogan, yeah, he's trash.
Move forward.
Christian McCaffrey is obviously their number one wide receiver, but they run a lot of specific set plays for him, screens, shovel passes, things like that. So when it's just like shotgun formation, Cam Newton's just hucking the ball.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is going to be the guy.
Yeah, definitely.
So I do like DJ Moore a lot. I think he's a great value for the 7th round. I probably wouldn't take him ahead of Tyler Boyd, though.
Yeah. They run, last year they ran, I think it was 80%. 80% of their plays were in either 2 or 3 wide receiver sets. Mm-hmm. Only 3.5% of the time they ran on a 4 or 5 wide receiver sets, which means if Hogan is the 4th guy on the depth chart, you'll probably never see him. Jarius Wright is a slot guy. Right now he's the 3rd guy on the depth chart, so you might see him reach like 20 catches maybe.
Right.
But Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore are the guys. I like both of them. Both are really good values. I mean, Moore in the 8th round and Curtis Samuel in the 13th.
Yeah, that's solid.
Curtis Samuel is one of the best route runners in their division and in the NFC. If you literally watch him on film, he's an incredible route runner. His problem is he's not physically and physically and vertically capable of being I've talked about
people
this.
said that about Julian Edelman, like
he's 5'11" and he's 200 pounds. Like, he's not bad. He's just
no.
I don't think. See, I think Curtis Samuel has the capability of being a Julian Edelman type player, not necessarily in the slot. I mean that in the context of like Julian Edelman, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen always finishes wide receiver 2s. I could see Curtis Samuel always finishing as a wide receiver 2 in his career, including this year. Like, I think he can finish 17, 18 in the 13th round. That's perfect. DJ Moore has the talent and the potential to be a wide receiver 1 and a high-end one. Like, in 2 years, DJ Moore could be a top 5 receiver. Like, that's how talented he is. It's a question of, can Cam Newton get him the ball?
Which is a fair question.
Like, the fact that when I looked, I never fully looked at Cam Newton's numbers, and I looked at his numbers, and it was like, he's thrown 4,000 yards in his career once.
Yeah.
And that means...
that was his MVP year, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, no. That was the first year of his career. His MVP year, he had like 800 rushing yards and like 10 touchdowns on the ground. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on. I do love DJ Moore. Make sure you draft him in fantasy leagues. Dante Pettis is our fourth guy on the board. I personally like Dante Pettis a lot more than you like Dante Pettis.
Well, I don't know. I like Dante Pettis, so we'll see.
Interesting. So Pettis is one of those guys that a lot of people are overlooking, and I'll tell you why. Marquise Goodwin was the guy that started as the wide receiver 1 last year for San Francisco. Right now, he's the number 2 guy on the depth chart, and they're saying he might be on the bubble, like he might be cut.
Wait, who?
Marquise Goodwin.
Oh, okay.
So Dante Pettis is a guy going in the 9th, 10th round. He's a relatively decent player. He was drafted in the 2nd round. I think it was in 2018.
Oh, was it? Oh, you're right. Yeah,
2017. He was a rookie last year. And so over the course of last season, he showed that he could be a very good wide receiver. There was a course of games, weeks 12 through 15. He had 17, 29, 13, and 13 fantasy points. So he had a decent stretch of games. I believe he was top 20 over that stretch, or maybe top 15 over that stretch. He played rather relatively well at the beginning of the season before he got hurt in week 2. And then when he came back, he was good. So the big thing about Dante Pettis is I think he has a talent, and the big thing for me is that he's a wide receiver 1. He's similar to DJ Moore. He's the number 1 wide receiver in an offense that's kind of up and coming. And if Christian McCaffrey, my God, if Jimmy Garoppolo can be
my 2 favorite players,
your 2 favorite players. If Jimmy Garoppolo can be a decent quarterback in the NFL, I think Dante Pettis will probably be a very good wide receiver 1. He's shown flashes of being really good. It's just a matter of is the connection going to work? Like they're already talking. There are people floating rumors around about the 3rd wide receiver on the 49ers having the most because he's their slot receiver. And what is Jimmy Garoppolo? So what's the system that he comes through? He likes to dump it off. So they're saying that this 3rd wide receiver, I'm going to pull up his name just so I can give it to you while you make your point on Dante Pettis, but is that this 3rd wide receiver, the slot receiver, is probably going to have more catches than a guy like Dante Pettis, but Dante Pettis is very good vertically. He's a great red zone target. So you're going to see him, if Jimmy Garoppolo has a 25-plus touchdown season, I could definitely see 8 to 9 touchdowns for Dante Pettis. And if he does that, I think he's very good at that. At that value, 9th or 10th round, it's worth the risk.
I actually might like Dante Pettis even more than you because you know my feelings on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
You said if he gets 25 touchdowns plus, I think
don't say he gets 30. I was going to say it, and I just couldn't do it.
He's going to get 30.
Oh, God. That's all. You can save that for a bold prediction show, boss.
Oh, I should.
His name is Trent Taylor.
Totally missed out on using Jimmy Garoppolo in a bold prediction.
His name is Trent Taylor, the slot receiver. Dante Pettis is a flanker. Jordan Matthews is a flanker.
So
Marquise Goodwin is what they call a split end, which means he plays the inside out.
Yeah.
Very close to the flanker, which is the outside. And then Deebo Samuel, who's a rookie, who's probably not going to do anything.
That's what I was thinking.
So Trent Taylor is an interesting guy to keep your eye on. Keep following that in camp. I'm not saying go out and get him or draft him or whatever, but he's an interesting. If you're in a dynasty league and he's available, I would go and get him.
Yeah.
Because if people are reporting that he's going to lead the team in catches, that comes from sources inside the organization who believe that. So
right.
This is not talking about Trent Taylor. We're talking about Dante Pettis.
Dante Pettis, I actually do really like him though. My concern was actually what you said earlier with having the connection with him.
Yeah.
Because Garoppolo missed pretty much the whole year, so they're gonna have to kind of build that connection. If you think Dante Pettis is gonna be a legit breakout guy, they're gonna need to form a good connection during the preseason and training camp and all that sort of thing. But if they do, I mean, Pettis has a fantastic upside to me because he is the number 1 receiver as of right now in San Francisco with Jimmy Garoppolo as quarterback. And I know we joke around about Garoppolo all the time, but I do think he will have a pretty solid season.
Yeah.
Slightly better than I think.
25 plus touchdowns, it would be easy for Dante Pettis to reach 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think he could definitely get 25 to 30 touchdowns. And if that happens, yeah, exactly. Pettis can easily get like 8 touchdowns.
The question
which would
is
make him
Pettis and Garoppolo staying healthy.
That's pretty valid, but I just Jimmy Garoppolo, man.
Nick Mullins, man. Got to bring back Nick Mullins.
Dude, even if Garoppolo gets hurt, they got Nick Mullins, bro.
Let's move into Corey Davis. I'll let you talk about Corey.
Corey. You know, my bold prediction.
I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna go try to make an argument for Corey Davis right now.
My bold prediction for Corey Davis,
because I don't agree with Corey Davis. Like, I'll draft him where he's going, maybe.
Right, so that's a great value, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're talking about value picks here. Now,
that's true.
Again, my bold prediction.
How does a top 5 pick not work out when you go to the Tennessee Titans?
Well, you just answered your own question. When you go to the Tennessee Titans. Now,
fair.
So
I just want to clarify. I don't think Corey Davis blows. I think he's very talented and good. I just don't think he's going to ever get the opportunity that he should.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I'm trying to pull up.
He's the Kenyon Drake of wide receivers.
That actually is a very good comparison. So he's going pretty much the 11th round.
Yep.
The last pick of the 10th round.
Yep.
He's the 35th receiver off the board. To me, the reason why I think he's a great value pick, and my bold prediction was just a little stupid, but that's the point of bold predictions. I don't actually think he'll finish that high. But I could easily see him finishing like top 25 among receivers. Right. And if that happens, you're getting a steal in the 11th round.
No, definitely.
For me, like, if you look at the wide receivers around his area, his upside, like Sterling Shepard, Will Fuller, I think he's got a higher upside. I think he's got a higher upside than Mark Jones. I think he's got a higher upside than Christian Kirk. I know you love Christian Kirk, but I think he's got a higher upside. Cortland Sutton, I think he's got a higher upside. Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these guys in his area, I think he's got a higher upside.
Go ahead and finish your...
I'm just sorry. I just love talking about Corey Davis because he's my favorite player.
Please don't go on Twitter and look at all the videos of Corey Davis making crazy catches. People are getting.
There's pictures and videos of those.
Yeah, go look.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna say right now, just as like a general point, don't buy into all that, the videos and all that. Like, a wide receiver, somebody got all hyped up because David Montgomery ran up the middle and it was a no contract drill. I was like, please stop. You guys are getting ridiculous. Fantasy football Twitter gets ridiculous.
Someone will make run a route and make a catch. He'll be like, excellent route running ability, 10 out of 10 hands.
It's true.
We'll draft in second round.
There was a guy, he took a picture of Odell Beckham making a two-handed catch, and he said, "This guy's incredible." He's like, "Look at this catch he's making." This is like fantasy analyst. I died laughing, and I was like, bro, he's doing his job. He's like catching the ball. Like, what is incredible about that? Like, it wasn't even like a behind the back like one-handed catch. It was a basic like two-handed grab.
Amen.
Toe tap on the sideline.
Not every receiver can have that kind of hair.
Yeah,
I think that's incredible.
They got distracted. I do want to note Corey Davis. He's not a bad receiver. Like I said, he's extremely talented. Mm-hmm. He had 112 targets last year. He had 26% of the target share on the Tennessee Titans. So that means they're going to throw it to him.
Yeah.
And A.J. Brown, I believe, is not healthy right now. So this rookie wide receiver they just drafted. They have two first-round wide receivers. They need a quarterback so badly.
That just shows you that they're like really crossing their fingers on Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the second overall pick?
I think so.
So, I mean,
So he had 112 targets last year. I believe how many games he played? 16. All 16. Healthy the entire season. 112 targets, which is 7 targets a game. He only brought down 65 receptions. That's 58% catch rate, which is, you'd be like, oh, that sucks. His catchable target rate was 76%, which was 59th in the league. His true catch rate is 75%. So that means if there's a quarterback throwing him the football that can actually hit him like in the chest or anywhere near him, he's going to catch it. The fact that he has a 58% catch rate, which ranks number 77, like a lot of people will pull up his numbers and go, well, sir, 58%, he blows. No, he doesn't blow. He has a 75% catch rate. What blows is his quarterback.
And I think Blaine Gabbert was his quarterback for half the season last year. So let's say Marcus Mariota misses half the season again. Instead of Blaine Gabbert, it's going to be Ryan Tannehill, which I think is a huge upgrade.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think 100%. For me, it's top-end quarterback, had top-end wide receivers in this league, get 140 to 170 targets.
Yeah.
He only had last year in 16 games 112. So he needs to see that increase to at least 140 in order for me to consider him anywhere near a wide receiver 1. And then the other thing is the catch rate needs to improve. Whether it's for him or for its quarterback, something's got to give. For him to get better, somebody has to get him the ball to the point where he can catch it 70% of the time.
Yeah.
This guy pulls down 90 balls next year, he can definitely bring in 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, and 1,000 yards, like easily.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a wide receiver too. So I think I personally think he's a low end wide receiver too at this point. To get him in the 11th round is a relatively decent addition. He's a guy that you keep on your bench, play when you need him, and trade when you have to, that type of thing.
That's your motto for anyone drafted below the 7th round.
It's true. But if you're able to get him and he breaks out and he has a really great year and finally is that top 5 pick that the Titans drafted, then you got a great player. My problem is he reminds me a lot of Allen Robinson in the context that, like, Allen Robinson had one really good season. In the last 3 years, people have expected Allen Robinson to be this really, like, breakout guy that can come out and be a wide receiver 1, and he's going to be the next Antonio Brown, like all this crazy stuff. And he just hasn't been that. And, I don't know if it's a lack of talent or I didn't do any scouting on Allen Robinson, but
he gets hurt a lot, too.
He gets hurt a lot. But I think for me, it's like when you look at this guy and then you look at...
See, the difference...
They're mirror image for me.
The difference
terms of, like, people expect him to break out.
Right.
And then he doesn't.
My big difference between those two guys is just like the talent. Like if you watch Allen Robinson play, you can tell he's not. Yeah, he's not a bad NFL wide receiver. He doesn't, but blow. He's not. Yeah. He doesn't break out. He doesn't pop.
Yeah.
Corey Davis looks like he should be at least a top 10 NFL wide receiver.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I like Corey Davis. He's not like if he was like in the 6th or 7th round, like where Tyler Boyd is or DJ Moore, I would be avoiding Corey Davis.
Right. We're talking about value.
We're talking about value on this show. So I'll take Corey Davis all day. Let's quickly go through our tight end values before we end the show.
Do them real quick.
David Njoku, right now, I've seen him fall the 10th or 11th round.
He's slipping.
In drafts. He is slipping, and a lot of people are fading him. They're falling in love with DJ Moore. They're falling in love...
You just love DJ Moore, don't you?
Yeah. It's the initials. OJ Howard is what I meant to say. So the initials.
I'm falling in love with OJ Howard too. Just
OJ. Oh, I love OJ Howard. I loved OJ Howard last season when everyone was mocking me for loving OJ Howard. But OJ Howard is up there. Evan Ingram is up there. Hunter Henry is up there. Yeah. And so I think in the mix of those tight ends coming back, maybe having a full-time season without being hurt, you see, David Njoku come in.
Right.
And he would, the beginning of the offseason, before we knew what Hunter Henry's status was, before we knew what OJ Howard was going to be or anything like that, David Njoku was going as in the first 6 rounds.
Yeah,
that was consistent. Right now he's falling back into the 10th round. So if you're sitting there and my strategy is running backs, wide receivers in the first 9-10 rounds. If I can get David Njoku in the 9th or 10th round which is not a bad pick, it gives me some fire insurance in case I want to go out and get Austin Hooper and I'm not stuck to a guy that gives me 2 fantasy points a week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I personally think it's a perfect value for David Njoku because I think he has in that offense the value to be a top 6, top 7
absolutely.
tight end.
I think I've said this point many times, but if you sorry, my laptop is about to die. I'm scared right now. So if you're picking after those top 3 tight ends, chances are the next tight end you're going to take is a wild card.
Yeah.
But I think Njoku should probably be like the 4th or 5th tight end off the board.
Yeah.
And right now he's going 10th or 11th round. That's a fantastic value. My only concern with Njoku is there's a lot of talent on that team now. Is he going to get enough targets with Odell getting the ball a lot and Jarvis Landry, and even when Nick Chubb comes back? Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
when
we
Kareem
are messing up the
back,
names today.
Yeah, we are. When Kareem Hunt comes back and they use him in the passing game, will there be enough love for Njoku? But taking him in the 10th round is a yes for me.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Let's move to Mark Andrews. Now, this is a guy that you didn't really like at the start of the show.
No.
Or at the start of our preparation for the show. And then
I just think there's a lot of hype for him.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I didn't like Mark Andrews either because he's in this offense that blows. So, not that it blows.
It's not
going to be a pass-heavy offense.
Right.
And so, if you have a guy, like I'm telling people to avoid all wide receivers on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the reason why I think Mark Andrews is targetable as a player is he's in the 13th round. So I think that's a good value.
14th pretty much.
14th,
last pick
yeah.
of the 13th round.
So I think he's a good value.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing is the fact that every single manageable target on the freaking wide receiver core for the Baltimore Ravens is a rookie. So like they have, I think it's 2 or 3 rookies on their team that are going to make up that wide receiver core. So it's a young wide receiver core.
Mm.
And like, to me, I think that Mark Andrews is just, he's the most veteran asset that, and when I say veteran, last year was his rookie season. So he's
They do have a lot of young,
a lot of young
receivers.
Players. But they're going to run the football a lot. But I think the main target for a guy that likes to run the football a lot and needs a safety valve,
could definitely be Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is a perfect
and he could
guy.
be a big red zone threat
Now,
as well.
if you're drafting a tight end in the 13th, 14th round, generally speaking, the guy's probably not going to work out. So if you take a shot on Mark Andrews, what's the problem with that? I think he's a perfect value late.
Yeah, I agree. He's got a very solid upside, I think higher than a lot of guys like that are going in his area, like Greg Olsen or Delaney Walker, like guys like those. So if you have a choice between those guys, I'd definitely go Mark Andrews. I think the value is there for him in the 13th, 14th round. I do think there's like a lot of people that are like, oh, watch out, Mark Andrews is like, there's a lot of hype for him that I don't know if should be there with the Ravens offense.
I agree. But training camp hype is real.
I do understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, definitely. And the third and final one, we've talked about him before as we conclude the show, is Austin Hooper.
Our favorite tight end, to be honest.
I feel like saying to conclude the show never really works because that just made 90% of our audience just tune out. They're like, oh, it's over anyway. We know what the last one is, Austin Hooper.
Oh, yeah.
So Austin Hooper, we talked about him before. Last year, he was a number 6 tight end in fantasy. He's in an extremely good offense that has showed a lot of improvement over the last, or not a lot of improvement. He's shown a lot of improvement over the last couple of years, and they're in an incredibly good offense with Dirk Cutter, who likes to target people out the wazoo with like 700 freaking targets. So a guy like Austin Hooper is a perfect value late in drafts. I think he's going to be a extremely like I like Mark Andrews as a guy that might break out and be in the top 6.
Yeah,
I think Austin Hooper will be in the top 6. Like
exactly,
that's not a question for me. So I think he's more of a value than Mark Andrews is, and I think that's a guy that I'm definitely going to draft. But he's a value on my board.
He could be. I think you said this year's George Kittle.
Yeah.
He consistently has gotten better each year.
If he turns into this year's George Kittle,
yeah. Now I do have one.
There better be more followers on this podcast because of that.
So you love Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
You love Austin Hooper.
I do.
You love Julio Jones.
Okay.
Is there enough love to go around?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page.
Just making sure. Any more thoughts on Austin Hooper, or do you want to?
No, dude. I think everybody knows our Austin Hooper love by now.
Yeah, go listen to the last tight end freaking show we did. That'll do it for wide receivers and tight end values. Entirely. That's done.
Oh, we're done?
We're done with that. You weren't here for half of it, so freaking.
Yeah, that's true. It's okay. I got the fun part, tight ends.
Be sure to listen on Thursday. We're going to go into our mock draft.
Oh, another mock draft.
Mock draft Mock draft part 3. What do you want to do? You want to face off?
I'm down with whatever, bro.
All right.
If we face off, just so you know, I'm coming with that smoke, though.
So be sure to listen. Talk to you Thursday. Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.